Good morning, ladies and gents, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Dose of Reality with myself, AJ Roberts, from Mission Consciousness. I hope you're all well. Thank you for joining us. If you're just joining us straight away on this live, drop a note in the comments. Tell us where you're tuning in from. Today's main topic is very much going to be around what can be quite confusing for people, which is the topic of Ascension Symptoms. Obviously, we're in a time right now where if you're tuning in to these lives, then they're for you, and the topics that we're covering are also for you. People who don't understand what Ascension Symptoms are or never even heard of them aren't watching my content. So the fact that you're watching my content, this is for you. So please join in. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know in the comments what Ascension Symptoms is to you. And this is actually really important because there's so much information and misinformation going around about everything. It's hard to disseminate, what's actually true and what resonates in your story. And this is what's really important. As well as at the time we're going through all these changes and transformations, our discernment is being tested as well. So the more we rise, the more we need to discern. The more we rise, the more we need to discern. And that's actually happening to all of us, myself included. As I've gone through my own version of events over the last couple of years, especially around Ascension Symptoms and experiences, obviously I've had my own level of things coming into my field which need to be discerned. Like, is this person who's suddenly come into my life got my best interest at heart? Or is there something there for personal gain? All these kind of things. Not to the point where it makes you paranoid, but it's all a test. It's all training packages for you. And this is something I've really lived and experienced over the last 4 weeks, especially. I was talking to some close friends yesterday that I really feel like I've experienced like this deep, probably like 4 to 5 week training package of things in my life that are to completely test me, but also train me, to also bring out the best in me, to allow me to release the old versions of me, the old versions of my life, old attachments that I had, old identities I had of myself, any guilt and shame that I held from the old versions of me have all been disseminated, especially if you're British. It's part and parcel of our DNA, isn't it? When we talk about DNA makeup and templates, drinking brews is definitely a British thing. Not just subject to the military. So grab yourself a brew, and again, use the comments. This is what they're for, ladies and gents. It's stage, don't we? We all know this stage where we're born into this realm. Our parents put us through an inoculation program. Most of us in the Western world, we go to our indoctrination camps, aka schools. We come out of schools not really knowing what the fuck we want to do. We go on whatever path that takes us. We go through all those processes as well of pharmaceutical interventions, the 9 to 5, and then being basically programmed to finish work each day after all of us paying our tax and sit in front of Netflix and chill, shoving poisons down our throat, right? Inevitably to keep us on a train of being sick constantly and not actually ever identifying the fact that we heal ourselves, right? We then get to the end of our working age where we need to retire, but we can't because we still need to bring money in because we can't afford our ridiculous bills, fake council taxes, and all the rest of it, right? So that is basically the 3D illusionary life that is set up so that maximum people live within that realm, and then basically feed the system our energy and attention consistently and never break through those thresholds that we are all born ascending masters, and that we're basically on that journey to that enlightenment and that realization about ourselves. It's to stop us from realizing who we are, stop us realizing what our galactic origins are, what our ancestral origins are, what our mission is here on earth. Okay, all of the stuff that we've endured is to stop us from doing that. All the stuff you can see now because your eyes are open you can see the programs, you can see the mind control, you can see all the agendas clearly. Okay, if you're watching this video, that is you, right? You can see it all. So it's like, well, once you've seen it and you can't unsee it, what's next? Well, it's then about asking yourself, and I always refer back to things that, you know, the amazing book, The Art of War, and things like that, is that, like, how would the enemy best attack you to stop you from doing all this? Well, again, we're seeing all that now, right? You've never seen so many videos on YouTubes and Instagrams and TikToks of youngsters, especially now, calling out all the stuff in the supermarkets, doing tests on things in the water, talking about the skies being sprayed, talking about obviously political and governmental corruption, talking about every agenda that you could ever imagine, right? Talking about one of the biggest hoaxes of our lifetime, you know, through COVID. Like, everybody's kind of talking about it now because they can see all the agendas, and you only have to go on any social media instantly to see a video of some sort calling something out, right? And that's because everybody who's doing this is on their ascension path. So they are seeing through the illusions, they're calling them out, and that's how the illusions collapse. That's how collective consciousness works. So cast your mind back to about 2012. This is where the prophesized ascension of Gaia started. Okay, so 2012, it was prophesized for that time. You will also remember that the London Olympics was in the UK in 2012 for this same reason, because it's the heart chakra of the planet. Okay, I've shown for many, many, many months now that keeping the vibration of this island, namely the British Isles, UK, as low as vibration as possible, has been one of the main agendas, because of the lineage and the remembrance that is on this island. Okay, you've got all the beautiful beings all down the east coast, okay, through Lincolnshire and Yorkshire and Norfolk and Northumberland and Teesside, all of that side, right? All got deep Viking lineage in them, warrior lineage. Okay, so you don't want that whole population waking up to who they are. So what do? You fatten them up. You basically dumb them down through frequency, put loads of windmills all the way across the coastline, which distorts the frequency of the water and pumps a negative frequency onto the land. Obviously, umpteen amount of 5G, 6G towers that are put up, okay, to basically hammer people with frequency. You've got obviously the illegal immigration route, many, many ways to divide and disrupt a population, to keep people dumbed down and inflamed and sick. Okay, you only have to go to Grimsby and other places like that to see it with your own eyes, to see the agenda. All the vapes that have been introduced, so people being priced out of smoking cigarettes, so they go onto vapes, so they're conditioned into believing that they're much better for you, and then that slowly gets nudged like everything else. Next thing you know, every kid on every corner is sucking a vape in the toilet in school, okay, hooked on them, because it's about disconnecting the child from their breath, from their activating their third eye and disconnecting them from source, because of the ascension path. All right, so all these attacks on us, including COVID, which was trying to stop as many people as possible from connecting to source, because we were always going to go through this process. We were always going to reconnect with the deeper aspects of ourself, our higher self, and the crystalline formation within the body, which is happening to everybody, hence the ascension symptoms. Okay, so all of this stuff ramped up in the last sort of like 12 to 13 years since 2012, including one of the biggest scams of our time, to disconnect people from their spiritual connection. All right, to disconnect all these powerful beings who have missions from their spiritual journey, from their ascension, by getting them injected, closing the blood-brain barrier, closing off the heart, basically any means possible, so that maximum people don't ascend. Okay, that's been one of the biggest parts and the biggest agendas that we've actually faced, because we're in this gigantic spiritual war. It's not just bombs and bullets in Iran or fake faux war in Ukraine or Syria or anything else like that. Okay, it's more first and foremost a huge spiritual war, which encompasses everything. Okay, which comes with attacks in the 3D world via what we're seeing through governments, etc., attacks in the fourth dimension, through in the astral plane, through Archonic AI and many other systems that are used, okay, to stop you from experiencing any higher realms, any fifth dimensional frequencies, and reconnecting with the organic grid of Gaia, which is obviously the ether, as above, so below. Okay, and the grid of the UK is literally alive now. Right, it has been heavily poisoned, it has been heavily distorted, hijacked for centuries. This isn't just in our lifetime. We are here to break those cycles, break those chains, break those distortions. There's thousands of light workers in this country doing daily work around the grid in key areas, at cathedrals, reconnecting sacred places, monuments, even memorials that are used for Remembrance Day, which are used to trap souls, like all of this kind of stuff. There's thousands of people right now in this country that have been doing this work. There's thousands of people, if not millions, who hold sacred keys and codes in their DNA for certain key areas to create a beautiful lattice and a beautiful web of ascended light, of ascended power, okay, of ancient technology, of our ancient times, of our ancient ancestors. Okay, there's millions of us who hold these keys and codes inside us, and that is what's waking up right now. So what happens is, as we're coming into experience with all of this, it comes with symptoms in the body. Okay, our body, as you know, is this dynamic, beautiful machine, okay, that we have one of. Okay, we have this vessel so our soul can experience this human experience. So from a flip side, it's imperative for the baddies, let's call them, to keep this vessel as disconnected from the land as possible, to keep this vessel as inflamed and as distorted and dysregulated as possible. Okay, so that we don't connect with our outer energy fields, we don't align our energy centers, and we don't connect to source energy. That's why keeping us in a box-to-box life is so important, because it keeps us off this powerful land. That's why this land is full of stately homes, mostly run by Lord and Lady pedos, right? Where you're not allowed on any of the land, and a lot of dodgy shit goes on there. Okay, we're basically compressed into housing estates, new build estates, all that kind of stuff for that reason, and then charged money to visit these sacred sites. Right, that in itself is all you need to know. Or they're very controlled or governed. Okay, again, keeping the energy distorted. I realized this recently, as I've shown with Lincoln Cathedral. Lincoln Cathedral is one of the most powerful energy centers in this entire country, and is pinnacle to so much that has happened and is about to happen. So when I went there and asked about running a breathwork session there in the chapter house, they turned me down straight away, saying that it was against what the beliefs were of the cathedral, because it is a religious building. Well, we know ourselves that they're not religious buildings whatsoever. Religion hijacked these buildings, then charge people money to go in them, and happily serve copious amounts of alcohol or the concerts and that they hold. So obviously the irony is right there, but it's there to be seen. So with the Ascension Symptoms side of stuff, many of you are experiencing so many different things. And what's important is, ladies and gents, I must stress this, is that we don't attach too much stories to what we're experiencing, because it's easy to make up loads of stories in your head, and the next thing you can be like, oh my God, I'm experiencing all this stuff because I am a descendant of Yeshua and I'm going to heal the world. Okay, you can easily get into building stories around all of this stuff, as well as the copious amounts of information that's getting flooded across social media. So this is why videos like this are important, just to give you a level playing field, so that you're in a much more stable, kind of like humble state of mind around it all, and we're not jumping to conclusions. Because I've been there myself. It's easy to get caught up in all this, like, fucking hell, my ears are ringing, and all this, like, my head's going mad. I must be like talking to aliens, right? It's easy to get caught up in those kind of experiences. So please use the chat and be very open if you feel called to do so, just about what you've experienced. Like, how long has it been going on? Like, how long have you been experiencing these symptoms? Or even things like, has time really sped up for you or slowed down? Do you feel like you're in like a different reality, like a different bubble? Are you getting hammered with synchronicities? Everywhere you go, are you literally seeing triple number plates everywhere you go? You know, like I literally only have to drive down the road, the main road from where I live to Lincoln Centre, to Lincoln Cathedral, and I'll have about fucking 20, 30 triple number plates coming at me every time now. I call it Synchronicity Road now. It's just ridiculous. So, you know, like how's that working out for you? Again, this is different for every single person. There's no one experience that kind of matches the same as everybody else. We're all here on this ascension journey to master the human experience. So please share, you know, if what you're feeling is very akin to what I'm talking about. So in terms of the physical body, because of the light codes that we're receiving now and have done for quite some time, this hasn't just been in recent months, this has been going on for a few years. The sun's like white hot, isn't it, during the day? The light codes that are coming in have been absolutely crazy. And we feel them in the body in many different ways. So one of the main key things which so many people have been experiencing is the sheer amount of ear ringing. Obviously, doctors and NHS and the medical industry will tell you straight away that you've got tinnitus. Well, I mean, as from personal experience, I very much beg to differ. My ears started ringing pretty much around about 2020, and that's when I started going down like the raw meditation route and really understanding it and what it all meant. Since then, I felt, I understand, and it's a multiple daily occurrence. My ears ring constantly. And it's often in places where I'm going as well, where I am, and I'm receiving data, I'm receiving information, and I can feel the information now, and I have done for quite some time. Like, and I feel it in the body through like shivers or little acknowledgements or goosebumps and things like that. The frequency changes all the time. Again, I don't put an attachment to that to go like, oh, that's higher, that must be this. I know it's information that's for me, and then it's actually about now. It is about embodying it into the human body, so we can receive all these codes, whether it's through light, whether it's through sound, frequency. But it's really important that we don't suddenly go, oh my God, my ears are ringing, I've got to go do something. It's actually embodying it in the human body, and then allowing those downloads to project into your reality. That's what I've found really, really important. That's been a big lesson for me over the last few years. And even sitting in multiple medicine ceremonies, is that everything we're experiencing and everything we receive is that we actually need to take our time actually embodying it into the human body, allow it to settle in our cells, that information, so we're not just reacting on something. So many people are experiencing this daily. So practice daily meditation, practice light breath work, because a lot of these downloads will become apparent in these states of consciousness. As well as the ear ringing, obviously a lot of people get a lot of pressure in the forehead. Okay, so where our third eye is inside here. So it's like pretty much where the spine follows up, the top of the spine, inside, deep inside the head. So it's pretty much the bang in the center, about there is where your pineal gland actually sits. Okay, it sits within a eye of Horus shaped area, hence why they call it like the third eye. So obviously we have two, and then when your third eye illuminates, that's when you see greater detail, you see greater clarity. Where we feel the pressure here at the front of our head. So if you get a lot of pressure here as well, and as well as the ear ringing, you're receiving spiritual downloads, and obviously it's illuminating the third eye, which is projected through the forehead. So again, really important to sit in meditation and allow yourself to breathe this energy through. It's important to ground this energy so it's not stuck here, because this is how we get lots of stuck emotion in the head, and then we can get a very sore jaw, and I'm talking from experience here. Lots of lymphatic blockages like in the neck here, so some of you might feel like you've got a lot of tightness, a lot of soreness behind the ears, on the jaw, all that kind of stuff, even in the back of the neck. Again, there's 2 points in the back of the neck at the top, which often can feel quite tender. It's important to relax these because they actually create a lot of the jaw tension as well, and a lot of the pain and the stiffness like behind the ears. Your vision could be affected as well, as Marlene says there, because there's so much going on in the head. So it's really important that as you're receiving all these codes, you're receiving this energy and downloads also through the crown and the head, because some of you in certain places or at night time or even in meditation, you know, you might be experiencing almost like it's like a lotus flower, like opening. So your head feels like it's opening and receiving all this cosmic information, which can be confusing. So it's important that we tune in and embody that information, sitting in meditation and channeling that energy down, because we're all a channel. We don't need to go and pay a channel or sit in channeling sessions and stuff like that, because we are all a channel. Okay, and we're all being put through this training. Okay, right now you're all going through training packages to get you to a state where you are channeling your own information. Okay, again, go back to all the poisons and everything else out there. That's to stop you from being the perfect channel, and that you channel all your information. You don't need to get it from anywhere else. All right, that's part and parcel of this evolution in us, is that we're all our own greatest channel. Okay, you trust yourself, you trust your own discernment, you trust your own intuition, you trust what comes into your heart, you trust what's happening to you, and the information that you are receiving. So we do this through meditation, or even like walking meditations, sitting in nature, all this kind of stuff, grounding that energy downwards. It's really important, because you're nourishing obviously your other energy centers as well, and helping them being aligned. Yeah, so just I'm just going to get Jessica's point up here, if you don't mind. So yeah, you've been having a lot of pressure and tingling on the third eye, and also feel a block on the left side of your throat and lymph blockages. So again, this is really common, because our lymphatic system is basically our immune system, and it sits just below the surface in our body. And obviously we do a lot of work with this, working with Kambo, the ancient frog medicine, which helps flush the lymphatic system. So one of the key blockages and places we get it is here. It's like on the neck. It can feel quite tender, because obviously our lymphatic system runs throughout our entire body, but our lymph wells are just here, just above the collarbone, just here. And if you put your two fingers here, it might feel really tender, like wow, like that. And we never notice it. So sometimes maybe make it a bit of a morning ritual. What you can do is, just with the breath, just sitting there, is get your fingers on there and just rub around in a circle, maybe like 20 times, and you can almost feel a little bit of a release. So once we open these wells, all right, we're allowing the lymphatic system to move through and down the body. So we open the wells, and then you can spend a bit of time on the jaw. You don't need to do it hard, because this is really important. Don't rub hard, because the lymphatic system is just below the surface of the skin. So we can just use our fingers. We can massage the jaw. We can massage the neck like this. And as it comes into here, we can again flush it through, and then we can just use our hand, move it through like that, and then just do swoops like this, like that, and then down the arm. Yep, you can do that just in the mornings every day. Also, those little trampolines, the mini ones, the rebounders, really great to just stand on and just allow yourself to bounce, and it's you're flushing this lymphatic fluid through your system. So when we get like a lot of blockages and a lot of stagnation in the third eye and in the jaw, which is affecting our throat and our ability to speak our truth, it's all simply because we get blocked up here. So again, you doing physical little things in the morning like this, and meditating so you're channeling that energy through, is literally a game changer for you. But what you probably might find as a result of this, which is really important, is that you probably find you get more downloads. So the more we're channeling the energy down and we're in flow, you'll receive more information. But don't be alarmed by that. You can receive more information, and this is what's really important. Don't doubt yourself and the amount of information that's coming into you. What's actually really important is that you're actually giving yourself time to integrate that information, okay? Because time is not linear. Right? So again, something I've realized often, sometimes in the hard ways, but also part of my journey, is that things that I've done in the past, in the last couple of years, places where we've gone and we've maybe anchored in energy or felt really like discombobulated in a certain place, and then you've gone back there again in a couple of years because it's for a reason. It like the quantum aspect of this doesn't give a shit about like what date you did it back then and what date it is now, because time's not linear. So everything you've been doing in the past and you're doing now is all for you to step into those quantum rails of reality. So doing these little practices is really good for just allowing you to actually receive more, okay, embody more and become more. This is why I'm doing these daily lives, because I get downloads like they're going out of fashion every single day, all day, okay? And if I just keep hold of them, all right, I would then feel that in the body. I can feel dysregulated and stuff like that, because the information I'm receiving, a lot of it's ancient codes, a lot of it's ancient wisdom, a lot of it's my actual galactic original origins from the start. My connection to the earth, my connection to the grid, my connection to cathedrals, my connection to Vikings, like my connection to the land, the planes we work on, the ether, like all this kind of stuff. It's all coming in like rapid. But if I keep it to myself, then it's just I'm gonna feel like I'm just full of blockages, because the information is not for me, it's for you guys. And this is why we often talk about, like, we are the media, hence why it's so important to keep us centered, okay? Because sharing this kind of information and experiences is not what the interweb wants, all right? Because it's creating a web of awakened souls that are creating a grid together, which are creating high levels of collective consciousness, which is what's collapsing the systems. So doing these, sharing these codes with you is of super importance. Hence why I'm doing these daily lives now, to share the information, because it then frees up more information for incoming for myself. I hope that makes sense. So we feel that pressure in the third eye, okay, and it's always interlinked with a lot of ringing in the ears, and can often feel like there's blockages all around us. So when we clear those blockages, you'll find the wisdom and the downloads that you're receiving will become more apparent, and then they are then projected into your reality. I saw this beautifully in a plant medicine ceremony last June. I sat on the mountains in Portugal in a teepee, and during my ceremony, my left ear started ringing like a phone, and I was just like, "Hello, Roger." And the next thing, my eyes just shut and my head went down, and I was extracted out of the simulation. So I was literally extracted out of the simulation, and it was like I was sat in this like briefing room, kind of like what they show you in the Matrix, you know, like when they're on that, like actually on a ship, but then they go back into the 3D Matrix, and do whatever they need to do, right? So it was kind of like that. I was like extracted out of it, and then I was in a briefing room with higher selves of people in my family, my grandfather and stuff like that. But I was given like orders and information and all this kind of stuff, but I don't remember any of it, because what happened was it was given to me via codes, basically through the medicine, and then that was basically for me to then experience it through the projection in my reality since June last year. And it literally has happened. Everything has happened as a projection, whether it's the collective consciousness coming online massively, the men awakening massively, the hearts of men opening massively, all the truths coming to the surface to be exposed, because it's the collective is what's creating it, right? That we are the army, we are the military, like we are the white hats, you know, and that's been the message ever since. Right? There's not a secret like squad going around taking people out like the Avengers that we've made to believe. That the whole messaging around white hats and everything else is that we are the white hats, because when we're aligned, we're on a healing process, and we're going through the ascension journey. We are open, and we're receiving white light through our hats into our being, which is awakening us to all our true essence, to our true self, who we truly are, all the aspects of us, you know, the galactic aspect, the shamanic aspects, the Magdalene, the Yeshua, like all of it. Okay, all the fractals of our soul that are here to experience this human experience are all coming online, right? So that shows us that we are the white hats, and that we are in control, and we've always been in control. Okay, we've just had to remove the fear, we've had to remove the fear programs, we've had to break the fear programs, and that's why I really do think that, like, lots of talk about med beds and stuff like that coming in to fix people. Yes, that technology is available, but it's not going to be needed by everybody. like people on the ascension path that are rapidly going through these symptoms and breaking through into higher states of consciousness, you don't need a med bed, because you are the med bed. Okay, because your field activates things in other people. Like, I've literally witnessed it myself over the last few weeks, like things activating in people just from being in a conversation with me around a certain subject. It's like it's information in my field that has activated that, and that certain things in people. And it's the same for all of us. All of us do this. All right, that's again why keeping us in a box, keeping us all separated, is so important, so we're not experiencing the power of the activations in each other's fields. This is why the fucking bullshit 2 meter rule, and you can only go around in groups of 6 and stuff, was brought in through COVID to stop us being in each other's fields, cover everyone's faces so you don't see each other smile, keeps everyone in low vibration so they don't speak their truth and they can't receive truth. Right, that's what all that was about. Yeah, I'll put this up for mining. So you've had chest pressure and coughing, mucus a little bit lately. Sorry to be so descriptive. There's no need for an apology. It is what it is. It's just purging. All right. So we purge in so many different ways. Okay. We're releasing all the shit from our body and our field and old data and old stories and old relationships and old things from our past that is from the old version of you that will not serve you anymore moving forward. Okay. So I explained yesterday in my talk about relationships and twin flames and stuff like that. I left a 20-year marriage and my children to be with Corinne. That came with a lot of guilt. That guilt I still hold on to, that I've had to sit with and observe and things like that. But it's all things and old attachments in the body that over time we need to release and let go of to allow the new cellular expansion within us, the crystalline expansion, to come online, to hold that actual data of what we're here for, what our mission is, and all that kind of stuff. So we purge through tears. So I'm sure lots of you have been crying your eyes out at some point over the last few months and last couple of years, many times over. Dark nights of the soul, all that kind of stuff. Right? I don't think you can get anywhere near Ascension and see you've had several dark nights of the soul. Like, you know, I'd love to meet somebody who's not experienced dark night of the soul. That's just literally flying around like an ascended master somewhere, because it's fucking brutal. So you obviously have the dark night of the soul thing, but we purge through like mucus, obviously tears, big yawns, obviously through the usual places, through our ass. It even needs to urinate in places. We're literally like dropping off codes and stuff in places like that. Like, so if you feel like you need to go for a pee and you're out in the open, go for a pee. You need to. Obviously, we sweat loads as well. And when we take people through plant medicine ceremonies, whether that be Kambo or it's ayahuasca or it's mushroom, whatever that may be, or even sitting with hape and things like that, like it can often create an initiator purge, but the person's always receiving what they need. So we purge in the way we need to allow basically the new information, the new data, the new codes to be able to embody into our body. And you're not alone on this. You know, like everyone's going through very purgative processes. So it's about sitting with those emotions, not getting attached to them, not sitting there just going like, why am I crying? It's because this, and then you're just putting more kind of stress and emotion on your body. It's about sitting with all of these emotions because we're supposed to feel them all. Part of the human experience is feeling everything in the body. Hence why when you get like a certain download about something, you get a shudder in your body. You know you're on track, right? That's you being shown that we feel things in the body. Okay, your spidey sense, something's about to happen, or someone's coming, or something like that. That's because you're feeling it in the body. Okay, again, this is why all the systems try to fatten us up and poison us, so we're not feeling things in the body, other than low-level states of emotion, anger, stress, guilt, shame, apathy, like all this kind of stuff. All right, so we're not in joy, love, bliss, and enlightenment stages. So we just, we don't need to overanalyze it. Like Norma says there, brilliant. Don't analyze it, just be with it. Absolutely fantastic. You know, throughout our whole lives, we have like a gazillion experiences, right? If we got emotionally attached to every single one, we'd never evolve, we'd never learn. It's about like, what did I get from that experience? What did I learn from that experience? This experience was for me. What is it showing me? And you know, that's so important to connect to, and not attach like emotions to stuff. You know, if I sat there every day crying because I haven't seen my daughter in nearly 2 years, it'll be 2 years in October, I haven't actually physically seen my daughter, I wouldn't be doing these lives right now. You know, I've had to sit with all these emotions, with all this pain, and ask myself, like, what is this teaching me? And the lessons I've received from it have been absolutely phenomenal. Like, if I hadn't had this separation, I probably wouldn't be with Corin, like now, and have the beautiful relationship I have with the children that was needed to grow, because with that growth, they're going through a lot of ascension symptoms. They're feeling all their gifts coming online, and it's fucking beautiful. But at the same time, I know that this separation has created this powerful woman within my daughter, because she's had to do so many things independently, almost stand on her own 2 feet. The inner strength within her and resilience will be like second to none. Again, we don't experience all of this kind of stuff often without trauma happening in the first place. And it's how we walk away from that trauma, observe that trauma, accept that trauma, accept that trauma, and know it was kind of for us. That's when the involvement really happens. And yeah, exactly like Elaine says here, sometimes the lessons we have are for the collective as well as ourselves. Absolutely. And you know, the fact that the obvious example is me and Corin obviously run this fantastic community and have done for a couple of years, which is growing all the time. But everybody in it was obviously going through a lot of their own collective pains and traumas and clearings and all this kind of stuff. So a lot of the stuff that me and Corin often experience is for the collective. In my last plant medicine ceremony in Portugal, out of nowhere, I had a massive purge into my bucket. And I was dripping with sweat. It was like I was having a full Cambo purge, but in a plant medicine ceremony. And but it felt really collective, like it was collective pain, like it was military, it was masculine, it was like all these things that have suppressed, you know, the masculine energies, the masculine warriors, and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, we absolutely do experience this stuff for the collective as well, because it's important, because it's a collective effort. It really is. So, you know, as well, so just going back to the symptoms and stuff. So with you know, the main common one people experience a lot of the earring and the third eye pressure, a lot of pressure in the crown of the head. You may feel things like throughout the body as well, like lots of like body popping everywhere as well. So you got to remember we're holographic, multi-dimensional beings, right? So if you can imagine, over a hologram is like a grid as well, and all the grid is made up of millions and millions of little tiny squares. So all these little things we have popping off on us every now and then is just like parts of that DNA being activated in the field. Okay, so we feel things in the physical body as a representation of what's going on in our field, because this is a holographic projection of our electromagnetic field, right? Our auric field. So we can feel a lot of those as well. But we're often a lot of people getting a lot of shoulder pain, a lot of back pain, joint pain, neck pain, obviously jaw pain, and all this kind of stuff. But a lot of shoulder pain, a lot of hip pain for a lot of people. This often represents areas within the heart that we need to heal. Okay, so it shows up as a physical injury, something that could have occurred. You know, we talk about past lives and previous lives and stuff like that. What we need to remember is, like, this body, AJ, wasn't a military commander is in other lifetimes. Okay, it's the fractal part of my soul that had those experiences. Same with the fractals of my soul and other souls, ancestors that are here having this experience now. So it's the areas of the heart that we need to sit in the meditation, breath work. Some people need to and are called to sit with plant medicines to help with this, like one-to-one. Corin does a lot of one-to-one shamanic work with people around this to heal areas of the heart or other places in the body, which then show up as physical injury in the physical. Okay, so that's often the case. I've had so many periods over the last year where my shoulder's been in a shit state. I've had sciatica. My jaw has been relentless. Just so many parts of the body. But sometimes it makes you feel like an old man. It makes you feel like you're a bit of a hypochondriac. And some days you're just like, oh my God, can I just have a day off? It does get a bit brutal. But it's showing us in the physical body the areas that we need to work on. And that's where our attention then needs to go. Our attention needs to go to the areas within our experience that we need to work on, not on all the surface level bullshit that's constantly happening to keep people distracted, constantly kept in the chaos train, constantly kept in drama, because it's stopping us from identifying the very things within ourselves and our experience that we need to focus on. So if you're experiencing any of these kind of symptoms, know that it's for you. Okay, know that you're physically feeling the benefits of this ascension journey. And I talked at the start about, like, what does ascension mean? Like, where does it start and all this kind of stuff. But then it's like, well, where does it finish? It's not about a finish point. It's about you ascending to be an ascended master. Okay. And that doesn't mean you turning into Mary Magdalene or turning into Jesus. Okay. It's connecting with those aspects of yourself that we all have in our DNA. We all have the Yeshua energy in our DNA. We all have the Magdalene energy. Okay. The Magdalene fractals. All right. And it's about reconnecting with those aspects of ourselves, the warrior aspect of yourself, your galactic origins. All right. The stuff I talk about in our events and I take people through breath work is about connecting with all those aspects of your soul. Okay. And then when you're in those kind of energies, you're then into mastery mode. So you're mastering your ability to alchemize energy wherever you go. You're mastering your emotions. You're mastering your ability to teach others. You're mastering your ability to walk these lands as a fucking guardian, because that's what you are. You're a guardian of the lands. All right. It's your ability to master your day-to-day practices, which then creates the reality that you want, because it's all coming from the inside to out. And that's what we've been told about ascended masters all the time, like these higher beings that we need to try and be like. It's not about being that. It's not about a higher echelon. Like they're just keys and codes and messages in your reality to show you that's you. Okay, they're just mirrors, like these fictional characters that fucking people like Diana Cooper and that go on about all the time, right? All these archangels that she says are like people, are like actual beings that you're supposed to channel outside of yourself to, for protection, for this. You don't need to channel any of that stuff or look or bring anything ever outside of yourself into your field, right? I must stress that a lot. Do not ever bring something outside of yourself, a prophesized being, into your field because some teacher says so, right? That's all lessons for you. I had to learn that the hard way with her when she tried to get me to an event in Portugal in September 2023, right? Which was about bringing dark energies in, and it would have damaged my third eye, okay? Because one of the actual speakers there got injured physically and loads of people were sick, okay? I haven't talked about this that much in the open, but if I'm honest, I don't really fucking care if she gets upset. Like, whether she consciously knows that she was doing that or not, that's an argument for later on down the line. But the intention was there to get me to Portugal, where I would have been harmed. Okay, to bring in off-planet negative energy into the land, into an event that was 2 floors underground with 500 people in the auditorium, who lots of them were sick. Right, so that in itself tells you everything you need to know. I saw the red flags early around people like that because they were mimicking me. And this is what strong archonic AI does. Okay, there's an AI overlay in people's consciousness that basically controls the mind and projects through lots of false information. And the new Spider-Man movie shows you this to a T. So she was telling me that her birthday's the same day as mine. Her dad was in the army and served in Afghanistan and worked in Porton Down, same as me. She was telling me that it's okay to drink red wine, almost giving me permission to drink alcohol. She was telling me that Archangel Raphael was actually working on my third eye as we were talking. She was basically massaging my ego quite significantly to try and get me on stage on that thing in Portugal. There were several people as well, friends of mine at the time, who interviewed her, and they were all spiritually attacked. Okay, this goes to show you how strong this archonic energy is. And I've seen it with my own eyes, how powerful this archonic energy is and the grip it's had on people in that New Forest community, especially the minions who basically bow to her feet and treat her like she's some higher aspect. So I experienced all this in 2023. And what I've experienced in the last month is that this energy, this archonic energy, is very much still out there, and it has very much been controlling the consciousness of several people. You've probably seen them on the internet where they're projecting misinformation, they're targeting people, certain people with certain DNA codes in their template who are here for a very important mission of Gaia. They're targeting people who are in twin flame unions to try and disrupt them and break them up because of the power of twin flame unions, and they're being quite vile, and they're just fucking lying through their teeth. So whether or not the hub of this energy is within Diana Cooper's field, or it's actually just in the south of England, because the energy in the south is very heavy, it's very distorted, and it's probably for that reason, because we have 90% of the world's crop circles in the south of UK. Okay, so it's important to really infect that land in a certain way. Yes, this is a live recording, Figgy. You can watch it back later on any of the channels. Same for anybody else. If you've only just joined us, you can watch the full episode back from the beginning on Facebook, YouTube, and X. So basically, the reason why I'm sharing a story with you is because I had this experience, and it was part of my training. Okay, it was part of my training, and I've really realised this, that I've witnessed and literally sat back and observed in the last 4 weeks. I've observed this energy literally attached to people and then come at me with mimicking, because this is what AI does. It can't create, it can only mimic. So you'll see this in certain individuals out there on the internet right now. If you ask them a question, they'll tell you to shut up, or they'll shut you down because they can't answer it, because they're mimicking. Okay, that's all they can do. They can't create the answer. All right, they're using other platforms' information. That could be people's website, that could be certain website, could be Q, could be anything, right? And they're not actually using the information properly. It's just mimicking it. There's lots of people out there doing it right now. And the archonic energy is like, it's basically creating like an overlay in their consciousness. All right. Often a lot of these people are easy targets as well. They might use substances a lot, leaving themselves wide open. They might have a big platform with followers and students all around the world, like Diana Cooper. All right. I've witnessed people within her circle become nasty, rip people off, be very untruthful, many things, right? But a lot of these people have seen through this, and they've basically changed their ways, and they're on a very good path now. Again, it was like it was training, so I could see the magnitude of this archonic AI beast, which isn't just located to a particular place down south. It is literally there to, it's literally like the Agent Smith. So like in the Matrix, it's like the Agent Smith. And to get rid of it and to break it, you need to be able to see it. You need to be able to go, no, I choose. You do not have dominion over any of my thoughts or processes or anything else like that. You cannot get into my mind. You cannot control me. You will not win, right? And that is how the AI, just like in the Matrix movie, collapses. And that's basically part of all of our roles, is to be able to ascend to these points through these training packages that we're all put through, okay, including what you've done in your life up until this point. It's all been for now. And be able to see these energies, see where they're coming from, see the threats, okay? And you do all that because you've got an active third eye, because your crown's connecting to source, because your heart's open, because you're speaking your truth and you're receiving truth and you're resonating at a much higher frequency than you ever have before. And that's how you see all of this. All right. So when at a surface level, you're seeing Donald Trump talk about the Clarity Act, okay, it's referring to our ability to be able to see the world with clarity, and we can all see the act, because that's what it all is. It's all an illusion. So the release of the Clarity Act is just comms for us to be able to see the world for what it is, as giant theatre, and that it's all been our training packages and lifetimes of, for many, that have got us to this point where we're at now. I mean, how fucking cool was that, really? That we're here this morning, having a brew, chatting openly about this simulation that we're in, and that we're all now at this point where we can see the game, we can understand the game, and we're basically at the higher levels of the game, ready to basically step outside the game and into a new one. And that new one is New Earth. Okay, this is why so many star children, indigo children, rainbow children, you name it, are all being born into this planet right now. Okay, carrying all these ancient keys and codes, which include teaching, because our youngsters are going to be the leaders of New Earth. Okay, people like my son, for example, and millions of other youngsters like him are going to be the leaders of New Earth, and we're here to support them. But we've had to go through this whole training package ourselves, people of our age, people of our generations, to be able to see the light, embody the light, anchor the light, so that we can then help train, be leaders of, be masters, be ascended masters, literally like Obi-Wan Kenobi, yeah, the master Jedis, to teach our junior Jedis. And that's how we build New Earth in those energies, in those timelines. But we've had to go through all of it ourselves. I hope that shed some light on a few things this morning, ladies and gents. I hope that's been a bit of a help to you. I wanted to share quite a lot of that information. It needed to be out there. It needed to be spoke. Like I said, this is about me speaking codes every morning to you, because they're not for me to keep hold of. They're for you. Okay. So again, even if you've taken one jigsaw piece from this morning's talk or the previous ones to add to your jigsaw puzzle, that is winning. I'll be back tomorrow. Before I depart for the weekend, I'm running my last ever breathwork course / event down south in Christchurch on Saturday, the 8th of August, Lionsgate. So just like I opened Lionsgate last year at the Wellness Way Festival in front of hundreds of people doing a breathwork session, I'm going back to my origins, Bournemouth, Christchurch area, running an awesome breathwork course for those who are called to do it. It's going to be a massive day of activations. I already know that. It's not just about the course. So I'm going to be down south this weekend in that key area where those negative energies are. So if you're one of those little dickheads who's tried to get in my way, let's say, over the last couple of years, and you're in that area, good luck. So if you feel called yourself to join me, I literally have two spaces available for Saturday the 8th of August in Christchurch at a beautiful venue called The Retreat. It's breathwork level 1 facilitators course. You learn the ins and outs of the science and the history of breathwork. You experience the power of breathwork, facilitation for those who want to kind of hold space for people. And you'll absolutely meet more of your soul family, because every single course that I run, everyone there knows each other already. Like I've been saying a gazillion times, part of my role is just bringing all the troops back to the ship, ladies and gentlemen, helping shine some light within your life to help bring you home. And home is where the heart is, right, in your reality. So if you want to come and join us, jump on our website, missionconsciousness.com. All our courses and everything moving forward are all on there. So if you feel called to do one-to-one work with us, or sit in ceremonies, come to our retreats, do year-long packages with Corinne, check out our books, whatever that may be, just join us on missionconsciousness.com. And we obviously have our lifetime membership, which is running up until the end of August. So it's only £47 for your entire life. We're ending that on the end of August, and we're putting lots of courses in there for people, lots of courses for members, loads of stuff on nutrition. We do 2 weekly calls every single week, which are led and guided kind of by ourselves, but also a lot of the community are all getting involved and talking about all weird, wacky, and wonderful things. The subjects and conversations you want to be talking about at the moment. So again, take that opportunity before the month's out. And if I don't speak to any of you before, I'll see you tomorrow morning before I jet off. And I'll let you guys all know what we're going to talk about. But keep the feedback coming as well in the chat, guys, in the comments about what you're experiencing. I do in these videos as well, so it helps me to reply to all the DMs that I get. So I can't reply to every single person. It just takes me forever. So another reason why I do these videos daily is to answer a lot of questions that people have, so that maximum people get help. Much love. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you again tomorrow here on a daily dose of reality. Now go and live it.